Good evening, Blue Jays fans, and welcome to another lovely evening of Jaybird watching. And I'm going to say it is feeling pretty damn lovely after another series win. It's two this past week since the last time we were with you. It's been a fun week for Toronto Blue Jays baseball as far as wins go, but there has been plenty of rough with what has been going on, and the Blue Jays are seriously grinding things out. But to that point, we are Jaybird watching. We are here. We are part of Fansided, and we are the official podcast of jaysjournal.com. I am here with my normal crew, minus one because he's at Little League night. Shout out to Chris Key, Adam Corsair, Brendan Panikar. How we doing, fellas?
Doing well.
Good after a win?
Yeah.
What do you mean, Chris? Chris is not at Little League. Chris is at Kevin Biggio rehab, man. He's finding out that Kevin is the king, and he's getting the proper treatment. That's Chris. I know you're listening. I'm here for you. If you just need someone to talk to about King Kevin, I got you.
Chris, don't listen, man. Don't listen. Turn away.
Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Listen, Brendan. We're gonna have to send you to rehab.
I might need it.
That sounds way better.
We can talk about that tonight. We can talk about that tonight if you want.
Oh my God, rehab sounds so good.
You rehab.
Are you in rehab?
That actually goes well, to be honest.
Wait, you say he's in RU rehab?
Oh,
Just
that's perfect. No.
Yeah. To that point, you say looked pretty damn good the other night, but we're going to get into that. So let's dive into some of the current events before we get into series recaps and what happened today during the Red Sox Blue Jays game to close out the series. So first things first, we are already talking rehab, and we're talking with Ryu. So points to Panikar Corsair combo there. So unfortunately, after another rough start, there were some ups and downs, typical Ryu ride from the last, I'd say 2 months of his Major League Baseball existence. And Brendan, you've been the one that's been preaching. I've been right there with you, waiting, thinking that we're going to get the best out of Ryu that we're going to get. And he doesn't need to be the ace anymore. But to that point, he finds himself back on the injured list. And he has to run with it. Things here. What are you thinking? What's going through your brain here?
I still stand by what I said last week, Thursday, in the fact that we shouldn't have made too much out of his first start. Now, I will rephrase all of this, or now admit my stance has changed because his velocity was down on Saturday. Was it Saturday? Yeah, it was Saturday.
Yes.
And now we know the reason why. And it was pretty clear he could not follow through on his pitches. His fastball was definitely a few ticks lower because in his first start, he was getting up 91, 92. This one, I think he topped out at like 89. And when
it was just under 91, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're a guy like him, just like we all remember from a guy who threw much slower, Mark Burley, is you need to have pinpoint control. And that's been the issue with Ryu so far. It bit him in his first start against Texas. And obviously, I guess, combined with the injury or the inability to follow through on his pitches, to not get as sharp a bite on his breaking balls, follow through, get a little extra oomph on his fastballs. We now see the results of that. To be honest, I'm fine with him going on the injured list. I mean, I actually think it'll work out better for the next couple of weeks. Let him go back, build up again. And in my opinion, we've seen a couple Blue Jays starters struggle with their command very early on. And we saw that in everybody's first start. Barrios couldn't control a damn thing. And I think he's still struggling with the command of his fastball specifically. Gausman in his first start couldn't get the ball up. I mean, we're going to talk about Kevin Gausman from today and even last Thursday's start against the Yankees. He's been awesome since then. Kikuchi, his first start, improvement. Again, he couldn't control it in his first start against the Yankees. The only one from start to finish who has had control, velocity, bite in his breaking balls have been Manoah. And we touched on that at length last week. So, yeah, I'll admit I still will defend Hyun-Jin Ryu, but I am concerned. I'm definitely concerned. I'm not to the point where I think he's garbage anymore or I think he's washed. I still think he deserves the chance to build and try to get back to a 4 or a 3 at tops. And that's all they need him to be, because if Gausman continues doing what he's doing, if Manoah continues doing what he's doing, if Barrios continues to do what he did last night, but even take a step further, you have arguably three number ones, or definitely 2 or 3 number 2s at the top. So yeah, Ryu, when he comes back, hopefully he's healthy, gets some velocity back. He rights the ship a little bit. And again, even if he finishes the season with a 3.75 to 4.50 ERA, keep you in a ball game, that's all you need from him from now on.
Yeah. It is all we need for him. He needs to be our 4th or 5th guy. But Adam, what is your confidence on him actually coming back from this injury and bouncing back to be that guy? I guess would be the next question.
0.
No. Trying to take me to rehab.
I think you should go.
No. I don't see it. I don't see the same Ryu that we got for the the 2020 season. I think we were hoping it was a 4-year deal, right? In total.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We were hoping ideally it was going to be 3 solid years with 1 year of drop off, and it ended up being arguably 1.5. And Brendan, you want to stretch it to 2? That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that this is what you get when you got a guy that has thrown as much as he has. And let's not forget, this poor start, we'll call it, on Saturday, was with an extra day of rest because Stripling started. So my confidence level is not that high. We're catering to whatever he needs, and I don't say that in a condescending way. We're doing what he thinks he needs the team to do or for him in order to succeed, and he's not succeeding. The velocity is definitely a concern. I want to say it was 90.8 or 90.6. It was his absolute fastest fastball. It's not going to get it done, especially if you're hovering in the high 80s. It's not going to get it done, like you said, unless you're Mark Burley. I just don't really have that much confidence. However, I don't necessarily think that I need it, and a big reason for that is the way Manoah has been pitching. And just based off the box score today, because I wasn't able to watch it midday, Gosman was fantastic. And I did see, flipping back and forth from the Raptors playoff game and Barrios yesterday, I was able to catch him, and he's looking like he's trending upwards.
He's figuring it out.
Yeah, I have confidence with him, especially when it comes to the fact that he was pitching in Fenway Park.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been a lot worse.
To that point, the other pieces are falling into place, is what you're getting at, right?
Yes. I do think that when it comes to the weakest link of this rotation, even watching Kikuchi, I have to say it's Ryu. Ryu has been the biggest disappointment. And so what does that mean? Are we going to roll with the 6-man rotation? I don't hate it if that's on the table. I don't hate it. I like Stripling pitching a spot start here and there, 5 innings, and maybe he can give you a little bit more. I wouldn't go further than 6, but it adds stability to your rotation. It takes away that hiccup and gives you a little bit of a competitive advantage because Stripling is at least reliable. Is he going to win you in every game and pitch lights out? No. But is he good enough that he's going to make a series at least competitive? I think so. Yeah. So it's not a huge concern. Get the rest you need. I don't think velocity is something that you can necessarily gain back, but we'll see. Brendan, for your sake, I hope he's good. I hope he's fine.
I hope so too. I will just chime in quickly, Craig.
Sure.
If Ryu didn't hit the injured list, and let's say he was scheduled to make his next start and they still ran with Stripling, if that happened, that scenario played out, I would have more confidence right now in Ross Stripling. And I hate saying that and I hate admitting it, but I can admit when I'm wrong, and have the ability to be like, yeah, I'm concerned now. Absolutely. So I'm fine. Totally. I'm confident that Stripling will give a decent start tomorrow. I mean, I could easily see him imploding a little bit and giving up a ton of runs because it's the Astros. But at the same time, I can see Stripling going a solid 5 and keeping you in the game and have a chance to win. And I don't think Ryu is capable of that. He's not capable of that right now. It's one of
It's the toss. And honestly, I think one way or the other, he was going to end up on the injury list if he came out and did what he did the other night. Mm-hmm. There was some points there where you thought he was going to be able to keep cruising with it. So that's encouraging going forward, I think, a little bit. But that's hopefully something for him to build on, that he had a few good innings and then he comes back healthy and kind of gets back into motion. I just really hope that in the fact that he doesn't have to be the guy 2-3 weeks from now when he comes back, because Barrios and Gosman are just clicking. And we've run through the Astros Red Sox gauntlet that we're going to be in the next 2 weeks. And, hopefully we can focus on him beating up on some of the younger, teams like the Orioles. I believe we have a set with Miami in July, things like that, just to go into those kind of things. I think that you get Ryu back, get him going, get him some confidence, and then hopefully he finishes like he kind of started last season off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was pitching pretty well, and then obviously it's the same thing that we have been seeing, unfortunately, throughout his career, not just as Blue Jays fans. He weakens out, doesn't quite have the stamina to go through a whole season, but if he can get us 130, 120 innings this year, it's really all we need. It's not asking for a ton, you know. So, and if that's mixed in with a 6-man rotation, if Ross Stripling keeps doing what he did the other day, where he pitched 4 innings, I believe, that was very encouraging, knowing that he was going to be the guy that's going to be in that spot. And to that point, the team actually even made a move before the game today and sent down Anthony Kay, who was going to be one of those guys in that bullpen along with Stripling to possibly eat up innings, bringing back Taylor Saucedo back up. So there must be some confidence there in that fact that these guys are going to at least churn in 4 or 5 innings every night. Otherwise, they would have held on to K. But what do I know?
Yeah.
Just this guy.
I get the fan fest when it comes to Ryu. I understand. You know, I think before him, I'm trying to think of the biggest free agent signing that they had.
I actually have a really good comparison for that, but
Sweet.
let me see if I can find it.
Oh, I thought he was about to go Miguel Bautista on me or something.
No.
Well, who was the last one was it Morales? The last big free agent that they signed before Ryu?
I guess if you want to count Kendrys, where I'm going with this, and I want to find the thread.
Not really big.
It makes a lot of sense.
No, but at the time, it was the biggest one they did.
At the time, yes.
Yeah.
Probably Russell Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was probably
I'm
comparable
saying
Martin.
this front office.
What's that? Oh, from this front office.
This front office. Yeah, then I think
had
you're in
to
that
have
ballpark.
I guess it's Kendrys.
It's got to be. And that's not even a big signing, but I guess it's because they moved on from Edwin at the time. We thought Kendricks was going to be decent for us, and he was, I guess, for like half a year. But regardless, I just think that my point was that when people think of Ryu, they think of, oh my God, it was such a big signing at the time, and it was. You know, it was a huge deal, and it set in the stage in motion for the Blue Jays being big players for legitimate free agents, right? And every year they've hit on a big free agent since then. So I understand the fanfare, and I understand why there's sentimental attachment to Ryu, but you got to just call it from what it is. You know, he's just been unreliable. And I understand a lot of people are going to say the same thing about me and Kevin, but I just don't think you really give up on a player like Kevin, who's got his first hit yesterday.
There's a difference in age here.
Listen, he got his first hit yesterday. He's only had, I think, before that, total at bats, I think 12.
There's
so,
a reason for that.
No, it's because Espinal has been on fire. That doesn't mean Kevin is.
There's a reason.
But that doesn't mean Kevin is bad.
Yeah.
It just means
Correct.
Santiago.
At the moment, you
Espinal
haven't done anything with it.
Yes.
You're at the hot hand, absolutely.
Yeah, and I just say, hey, give him. He got his first little bloop yesterday. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Hey, just to say to make the Buck Martinez comment, you know, we're only a bloop and a blast away from taking this. All right. Same thing. That's the Biggio Needby story.
How awesome was he playing in right field?
It was pretty good.
He actually looked a lot better in right field than I would normally give him credit for. So to that point, if he's going to be ambidextrous and do that kind of stuff, great.
Good. He's versatile. He's turning into Ben Zobrist, at least defensively.
He's diet Ben Zobrist.
Yeah, he is. And
literally.
If you get as close to a bat as Ben Zobrist, then I will congratulate you, Adam.
There you go.
What was he in 2019? What was he? Sorry, was it 19 or 20? In 2020, what was he? Like a 5-WAR player?
Oh, I don't think it was that high.
I know. I'm just.
I can hold it up. Quick. 1 second.
No, but
that was his minor league MVP year, maybe.
No. I think he was like a 2-WAR player.
2.6 in 2019.
Okay. What 2020?
So, yeah.
That's in 430 plate appearances in 100 games. That's pretty good.
Which you would think is a good size, which is why Mr. Manluster Biggio here fell in love with him in the first place. Was that whole thing? So
yeah, and even in the shortened season, he had in 59 games, 265. He had a 1.2 F4 and
the talent's there.
122 WRC plus, and that's pretty good. I just need to see him get back there because it's been pretty lost since.
My point is,
but he was hurt.
You don't give up on that. You can't.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you're Santiago Espinal and whatever. Anyways,
and you force the hand.
I digress.
That's a little different. That's moving things along to that point where, yeah, you're you just have somebody that is legit better than you maybe on the team at that point.
Yes.
So, but anyway, can I pop your bubble and move on?
Yes, of course. I have to get my Kevin references.
I figured you would. Meanwhile, I'm getting shouted at by Chris Key through freaking text messages going, "Stop!"
Hey,
just kidding.
Listen, he's in rehab.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
He's in rehab. No, he's
I
not.
will defend you, Chris. You were not in rehab. It's okay.
I kid.
I kid. So anyway, on the injury notes, George Springer got plunked pretty good in last night's game. Kind of literally ate it in the bottom part of his elbow. I think they said the X-rays last night came back negative during the game, but to that point, he was not in the lineup today. Not surprising. They haven't said anything further. You guys think this is just
he pinched hit? Yeah.
He did pinch hit. Okay, I missed that part at the end of the game.
Yeah, 2 ABs.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So to that point, everything seems to be good and going there, and he's going to get a little bit of light travel in, and then go back into it hopefully here as the Blue Jays take on the Astros. So at least that's warmer weather. That's the biggest thing I think right there.
Yes.
Not scared?
No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. It did look like it was still bothering him when he swung today from the ones that I saw, but he'll be fine. And I hope he's fine because this is the first time he gets to play against Houston because he was injured both series last year.
Yep.
Yeah, and he wants to go in there and just rake. And
Absolutely.
be like, that's right. You should have paid me. Kind of strangely okay with the fact that he didn't, but to that point, still not buying that jersey.
It's okay.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on, other things that happened Blue Jays news-wise. And this one I think we have to talk about just because we've kind of shit all over this idea over the last collective, 3 years, boys? And that's extending Charlie Montoya yet again. There's something a little different going on, I think, with Charlie Montoya this year. And I don't know if somebody finally lit a fire under his ass. The fact that he was literally just all over the umpire the other night and had me doing backflips. I was loving it. So he gets an extension. It could be just that he doesn't want to work under the, I am, lame duck. It's time to wand off at the end of the season. It could be something as simple as that, or it literally could just be the loaded idea that, hey, they're just going to keep running Charlie out there and things are hopefully trending in the right direction. And so far, so good this season. But how do you guys feel? I'll let Adam kick this one off with the Montoya re-signing for another season.
Yeah, I mean, I still think he's a bridge manager until he proves otherwise.
This is why I made you go first, because I know you're one of the biggest critics.
I'm
curious.
When he performs, I mean, you can't really perform poorly as a manager. When you make weird decisions regarding your bullpen, I'll call it out. But last year in particular, a lot of people like to focus on that. But I was the guy that went to Montoya's defense because there wasn't really a lot he could do to make pitchers from the bullpen pitch better. He had a really, really poor bullpen. So he was just trying to make it work. And I think at the time, Romano didn't want to go more than if he wanted to go 2 days in a row. So his hands were kind of tied at that point. So right now, everything seems to be going well. I don't really have many complaints. The lineups are a little weird, but I just think it's just, again, there are injuries we have to deal with. So he's just experimenting with what we got. He's got a little bit of fuzz on the peaches when it comes to arguing with umps. I kind of like it.
And it was rightfully so the other night.
Yes. Yes, he is not afraid. He is not even with the Kikuchi balk. He was just daggers at Angel Hernandez. I was just like, okay, you came to play.
Yes, so game on.
He's defending his players, and I remember last year with Robbie Ray, with the Orioles manager, his name escapes me. He was just chirping at Ray, and I was pissed because Montoya wasn't doing anything. Yeah. That seems to be different this year. Yeah, he's defending his players. So if that's the case, and he's not making boneheaded bullpen decisions that are within his control, yeah, sure. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, again, the manager doesn't nearly play as big of a role as it did when, say, the height of baseball and in our generation, right? So it's sort of a paradigm shift when it comes to that. So yeah, cool. It's fine. Awesome.
Yeah. Could make the other joke that there was another manager today that wasn't able to be in the dugout because he has COVID. So there was that.
Ooh, Alex Cora?
Correct, sir.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't know. I didn't see that.
And to that point, I think even under the protocol stuff, that he would probably miss the trip to a certain other ballpark.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be
how many days?
That's going to be interesting to see what happens come
10?
Monday, because obviously we know Tanner Houck can't come. That
Yep.
got out when he spoke to the media, but Alex Cora made reference to there are others. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's another bigger name or two. Now, Bogarts did get vaccinated in between last year and this year, so he's good to go. I think JD Martinez, personally, and I don't like to judge, but at the same time, from the whispers that we've seen, the storylines, I do think JD Martinez is one that might not be able to make the trip, and maybe a couple bullpen arms too.
He also got hurt today too.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
He did. Yeah. On Charlie.
So, anyway,
on Charlie, I do think the extension just signifies they don't want him to be a lame duck manager, as you said, Craig. I really do, and that again, I don't blame anybody for thinking that he very well might be a bridge manager. I wouldn't be surprised if this team falls on their face and they miss the playoffs by more than they did last year. Let's say you have a mid-80s win season, which I don't think is going to happen. But if it does, I wouldn't be surprised if Charlie is gone after this year, because in my mind, he is acting like a guy who knows there are serious expectations on him. He is standing up for his players. He is going out and arguing calls like we've never seen before. It just feels like there's a different intensity to Charlie this year. And I don't think there's been a move so far this year that I particularly questioned either. I think obviously there's been some weird lineups like Zach Collins batting cleanup, but Zach Collins, as we're going to talk about in a little bit, has been red hot, and he deserves it. He absolutely deserves it, because last week we were shitting on him and saying it doesn't look like he can hit it at all, and he shut us up pretty quick. So run with the hot hand. He's putting out good lineups. He's letting his starters go, but not too long, and he's having I'm not sure if I would call it a quicker hook, but it just seems like he's a little bit more prepared a little bit. So, yeah, I think he's just a guy that knows there's serious expectations on the team to get to the playoffs. And if they do happen to miss it, then I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone. And the extra year is just so he's not a lame duck.
Yeah. And at that point, he's acting accordingly. He knows this team is supposed to be a playoff contender, not just hey, we got here like the couple times that they had. Yeah. So to that point, I think it's finally sunk in that he needs to dig in and run with some of this stuff, at least to the point where we were talking last week when who was it that got plunked? Oh, it was not plunked. It was Teoscar. He had the thing going on where he tore his oblique or anything, but strained the muscle.
Yes.
Oh, he was sitting there on the dugout doing nothing. It's amazing what has happened since that week, and the fact that he's literally blown up at one of the umpires.
Yes,
rightfully so. You guys saw that metric thing that came
terrible.
out from the umpire card. I think it said it was basically it cost us 2.9 runs or something. Those
like
calls. That. It was something in that ballpark, and that would have been the difference in the world. It was flat out. And they had every right in the world to be pissed with, I think it was also one of the lowest accuracy ratings so far in Major League Baseball from that umpire scorecard.
Jeff Nelson, right? And
yes,
remember,
Jeff Nelson.
Same umpire that screwed Ben Revere over in the ALCS.
Yep.
Correct, sir. So it's a lingering thing. But to that point, we've had just as much lingering haunting from Angel Hernandez thinking he's, the weirdest umpire on the planet.
Hey, he called a pretty good game last night. I was actually impressed with his zone.
That was a better Angel game than I have seen in a very long time. So maybe he's finally got the right glasses or the right meds or something. I don't know. But to that point, it was encouraging to see, and it ended up being a very good game for us. So I'm working out with that idea. But to that point, seeing Charlie jump up and actually get in the face of that umpire over that mess, that's not the Charlie Montoya I was always pissed at not doing that.
Yeah.
So it was very encouraging to see. And I just hope that tenacity that he showed over the last week continues to linger, because in that point, give him the damn extra year. Perfectly fine with it. But if he was going to sit on the sidelines with Jeff Nelson doing that the other night, I would have been pissed. And then I would have been like sitting here going, okay, great, we won, but why the hell is he still, getting another year for not doing his job?
No, for sure. Look, the crowd was receptive to it too.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So it's a recognition thing, and you got to stick up for your players, and you gotta. I think you're right, Brendan. I think he knows that there's a lot on the line. I think this maybe just goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. If they are going to be an 80 around-ish win team, it's probably because of injuries, in which that case, I don't think I let them go. If injuries are the reason why they perform or underperform, rather, I'm not letting them go. But you're right. I
if
do
we're
think
healthy and underperforming.
Yeah, no, he's got to go. And honestly, in fairness, I'll say the quiet part out loud. That's not his fault. It's not his fault if players underperform. You have to blame someone.
Correct.
And the
exactly, and that's what managers get done. I think, did I mention it to you guys the other day? I've heard this quote a bunch of times. It's an old Joe Torre baseballism from when he was with the Yankees. That players that play poorly get demoted, released, whatever. Managers that perform crappy get fired. Yes. Umpires that don't do their jobs and call shitty balls and strikes, guess what? They just go to the next town.
Yo, it's funny. It's funny you say that, because I was actually having a conversation with Richard Burfer about it, and I was saying, because we were talking about robot umps, and I'm like, look, I'm not against robot umps, but if baseball purists don't want them, you at least have to have an evaluation protocol when it comes to umpires. Like, if you 100%. Get like, I don't know, less than 80%. And I think that's being generous. If you're getting less than 80% of your calls correct, you have to be, you have to have some sort of performance review.
Get the moment.
And you have to, you have to. And
well, how do you even get a promotion? If you do your damn job right, you should be able to be on, dude, I'm better than frickin' Jeff Nelson. What the shit is going on here, you know?
I'm pretty sure that's something to do with soccer. I'm pretty sure soccer refs, when you get up to the bigger leagues in Europe, work their way up, and if you have bad games and bad calls, I'm pretty sure you go down. I could be wrong, but I'm like pretty confident.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how it should be. And 100%. Just like anybody doing their job, if you're doing a good job, you should get rewarded. If you're doing crappy, I'm sorry to say, you should be worried about keeping your damn job. That's just because it's the American Canadian way. It's just how the world works. It's just how it is. So
it's because they're unionized. That's why.
Yeah. But to that point, baseball players get released and fired all the goddamn time, and they're a union too.
I know, they agree to it.
Which, to that point, though,
which I'm glad they did.
If you want to give frickin' Angel Hernandez frickin' points for sitting behind them, going like this or whatever the hell it is, great, fine. I don't give a crap. But when he starts to the point where he's literally missing calls to the point that it's insulting, I don't know if you guys saw it, but Joe West that blew the Armando Galarraga perfect game?
No, it was
he's Joyce. Retired. Joe West is retired, right?
It was, and he's starting a podcast, by the way.
Yes, he does his own podcast. Yeah.
So let's listen to that.
Jim Joyce in Major League Baseball. There's a petition in front of Major League Baseball because it was not important. Stupid. It didn't change the game and everything. That it's got like a crazy amount of freaking signatures on it right now from Major League Baseball players and collective fans. It's not just Detroit fans. It's baseball fans. It doesn't change anything other than the fact that, hey, guess what? He should be in the record books. Put him in the fucking record books. You know what I mean? It's just how it is. So, but to that point of the umpires doing their job right, he was an umpire that always did his job properly. He missed that one call and everybody haunts him for it. So, watching Jeff Nelson do the same thing the other day is just there's got to be repercussion, and I don't know where that comes from, but to that point that there's just got to be something that says, hey, you're not doing your job right. And hopefully he's at least noticing, or somebody's sending him that freaking text message with that picture going, dude, do you see what you did last night?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw this. A fan brought the umpire scorecard to a game on a poster.
Yes.
The staff had to confiscate it.
Yeah.
Because Blue Jays fans are awesome. That's why.
I think we're a very smart fan base, to be honest.
Yes.
I tend to agree with you. So, but who was it? Somebody in our group or somebody else that made the joke the other night that who's going to bring more signs to get confiscated next week with what happened? I forget what it was. Why am I blanking?
Us. No.
It was something that happened in our game, and all the Blue Jays fans were up in arms. I'm blanking on what the hell it was. It'll probably dawn on me in a few minutes. So anyway, everybody's in agreement that right now, this version of Charlie Montoya, extend that shit.
That's my favorite. It's my favorite version for sure.
Yeah, he can stay. He can sit with us for now.
There you go.
He can sit at our table.
Yeah.
Come to the table.
You're not quite with John Gibbons yet, but maybe one day.
Yeah,
it's because he won't have a beer with us. He'd rather play in the band with the bongos.
The day when
Charlie, which I'm all right with.
The day when Charlie gets tossed and says he got tossed to go have a beer, that's when he's welcome into the immediate circle.
Yeah, that's when he could say he gets a T-shirt at Baseballism or one of them. Yeah, you get your own shirt.
We'll make sure we send him one of our logo with a JBW with a beer glass and everything on him. Like, get that on a shirt sent to him.
Fair.
So moving right along, then let's talk about more things that are trending in the right damn direction. Where the hell did Zach Collins' offense come from, everybody? I'm okay with it. Not arguing with it. He literally looks like what we were starting to get out of Danny Jansen before, his unfortunate injury. So he's found the just the home run swing. He's hitting the ball all over the place. He's driving in runs. This has been probably the most productive week in his baseball professionalism period. And he was apparently a decent hitter in the minor leagues, which is saying something if he's all of a sudden just performing like this. I don't think it's sustainable, but to that point, that he just doesn't look like he's just a backup catcher anymore is kind of encouraging. So, Brendan, it's your turn to lead this one off. How you feeling on Zach Collins?
Yeah, I mean, he's totally shut us up, as I said earlier. I mean, last week we were saying that it doesn't look like he has a clue at what he's doing at the plate. And he didn't for a little while. But it seems it's just like, hey, get some reps, get a couple knocks, get your confidence up. And when he hit that bomb on Saturday to tie the game, I was thrilled for him. It seemed like it was a huge weight lifted off of his shoulder. And then when he hit another one at Fenway, I was like, damn, okay, stay hot, kid, and ride the hot streak. I mean, even if he turns back into a pumpkin in a week or two, that's just another week or two closer to when Danny Jansen gets back. And that's all he has to do, to be honest. And once he goes back into a backup role, I'll be totally fine with that. I think there's a possibility he may have found something. I don't think he's going to be a starter, but I think he could be a very serviceable backup, or maybe what you hoped Reese McGuire would be. Obviously, we know he's not quite as good defensively, but he could be a better bat. And I'm looking at his minor league numbers, Craig. You're right. He did have some pretty good seasons in the minors. He had a 19 home run season in AAA in 2019. So there's something there.
Yeah, but I doubt he had a lot of weeks like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And they said when they acquired him that they liked the make of his bat and they liked what he did in the minors. And it was just about figuring it out, getting some consistent playing time and potentially putting it together. And I mean, adding the fact he's a lefty and this team needs more lefties, and ride it out as long as you can. I'm fine to let him catch majority of the games this weekend, keep Kirk at DH for a little while, and just get it as close as possible. Ride out Collins as close as possible to when Danny Jansen comes back. And then he's done his job, to be honest.
Mr. Corsair.
Kind of bothers me because this means that they have a reason to keep Moreno down.
Yeah.
Or three catchers.
So like now there's no rush. Even though Collins today went 0 for 4, I'll still take the production given that the expectations were so low. And the lefty bat, as you mentioned, Brendan, is pretty clutch in such a right-handed heavy lineup. Do we think Danny Jansen's going to come back anytime soon? I mean, again, oblique injuries, especially when it comes to a catcher, that's pretty.
I haven't heard it.
Yeah, that's a daunting
pretty quiet
thing.
on his front.
So
yeah,
look, again, all jokes aside, I am satisfied with the production that Collins has been offering, but Craig, as you mentioned, I don't think this is sustainable. I don't know how long this is going to last. I have a feeling once we get into like the beginning / mid-May, we're going to be singing a different tune about Collins just based on history alone. I'd like to be pleasantly surprised, but I have more reason to believe that that's not going to be the case. And if that is not the case, and Jansen's still not back, do we call up Moreno? I think you should, especially since he's just raking down in AAA. But when it comes to Collins, yeah, sure, cool.
That's a good
one.
To that point, just to be this guy, Gabriel Moreno is batting .381 in his first 21 at bats, 4 runs scored, 8 hits, no home runs or anything, but has 5 RBIs. Just saying. Meanwhile,
he's at the same level as Latin Bow was.
Yeah. I just want to say this, and we both agreed that this is probably not sustainable, but this past week, Zach Collins has 24 at bats. He's scored 3 times, has hit 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, and has 8 hits.
Okay, so like,
ride it out, man.
We talked about Moreno in the minors, and I think, and I forgive everyone that goes to this. We focus on the bat, right? And that's what was primarily the case with a guy like Vladdy and a guy like Bo Bichette. We focus on the bat, and that's because the position that they played on defense was sort of theirs for the taking, right? And it's sort of like a slide in, right? When it came to Vlad at third base, we knew he was a third baseman of the future, and there wasn't much time to get acclimated to third base. I worry about how much time is going to get acclimated for Moreno to be a catcher and be on the same rapport as starting pitchers, minus maybe Manoah. I just have my
to that point, you should have the chance to be a backup catcher, not just going, huh.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I just worry maybe you start him off with just a Stripling and a Manoah to start, just to get his feet wet, and you DH him every other time.
Yeah. Or he's just the third catcher, and he just gets to, like you said, DH some days, catch some days.
Do you want three catchers on the lineup, though? Like, do you want
make it sound
catchers?
like we're not going to now with Zach? If Zach Collins even hits his weight, being the only left-handed guy, do you think he's going anywhere?
No, he's the new Riley Adams, man. Just without the pedigree in the system. Yeah, just flip him.
So, but you're not wrong with that, because to that point, at some point, Jay Jansen's going to get healthy, and Kirk is starting to hit.
Yeah.
Other than the fact that he had the two weakest infield signals in one game I've ever seen in my life the other night. But to that point, confidence breeds success, and he is starting to hit some good balls to the left, the right side of the diamond and whatnot. So good things. But to that point, I tend to agree with you guys. This is a nice little find that Zach Collins is doing what he's doing with what we need right now in this lineup without Teoscar and company.
Yes.
Doing what they need to be doing, because we're going to spin this into where I was kind of going with my summary idea here with what was going on with our recaps. There's one over these last two series. There's been one big looming piece of this whole puzzle, and the fact is Major League Baseball is no longer pitching to Vlad Jr.
Yes.
And we fear the Vlad is basically what every pitcher is now saying. And I feel like this has happened since he basically destroyed that home run on the inside half from Garrett Cole.
Probably.
Who also, by the way, has looked pretty damn bad in his start since Vlad destroyed him. The confidence is gone. And I'm loving watching the Yankees struggle with trying to find any kind of pitching. So, but to that point, Major League Baseball has found a way around Vlad, and that is by just giving him nothing at all in the strike zone, hoping to bait him into swinging into a ball on the outside, or just get a really crappy umpire to call strikes outside the zone, whichever way it works. And I just hope that those things don't lead to Vlad being too swing happy, or maybe he finally finds his dad's stroke and just starts hitting balls that bounce to the plate. I don't know. So what do you guys think? Is this going to be continuing, or is this something that hopefully rights the ship once Teoscar comes back and gets the anchor up behind him?
I'm not concerned at all. He's going to be his daddy if he has to. He'll make his papa proud by hitting those ones that are way outside. He's complaining about a lot of calls, though. He really is. So he's going to get trigger happy when it comes to that swing. And I don't disagree with the calls that he's complaining about, but he's going to start being trigger happy when it comes to swinging. You watch.
Yeah. And it doesn't shock you. That's what happens. It gets into your brain. You want to swing. Your baseball hitters are trained to swing, not to sit and wait. And when he had 2-3 walks the other night, and the night before, same kind of thing, and 2 strikeouts the other night.
Yeah, that's valuable too. Get on base. But somebody said yesterday, I think it was, or whichever day, he struck out 4 times, that Jeff Nelson ruined him. There were a few questionable strike contestants that he had. There were some that were very clearly in the strike zone. And I'm like, Vlad, what are you doing? That was very clearly a strike, and it was hittable too. So
it was like the only one he saw.
Yeah. I'm not worried at all, but the only thing I'm going to say is it seems like he is a little bit in his own head and is not sure when to swing because of some terrible umping the last couple of days, but he'll figure it out. And honestly, for him, it just takes one fastball down the middle or one mistake from a pitcher. And there's a lot of crappy pitchers out there. There is a lot of pitchers who will accidentally serve up the ball to Vlad. And
that kind of happened today a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
he pitches that he just missed.
So he was close. And he still has a 207 weighted runs created plus on the year. So he's still pretty damn good.
Well, he found a way to get one today that was it was a high strike, if anything, right? And he still finds a way to turn that into a sac fly. So it got the Blue Jays a run in what ended up being a very close 3-2 victory because of a slight implosion at the end of the ball game. But that ended up being a key run that he still managed to create to that point, Brennan.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So on that note, moving into the A's series, as we talk back what happened in this last week, other than the clear, obvious problem with Jeff Nelson that we all collectively have. What did you guys think of that series? We saw a little bit ups and downs. We saw some good pitching. We saw a one bad game, basically. And, just give me your thoughts on it. Let's start with you, Adam.
It was cool to see Chapman play against the A's. I was never really worried about the A's, and I think the A's don't pose as a threat at all to the Blue Jays. I don't like blaming the umpires as a reason for losses, but I'm going to give it to you, Craig, because it's pretty accurate. But otherwise, the team looked very, very, very comfortable playing against them, minus maybe Sunday. Sunday, I think, was the closest in terms of their wins. So
3.
Yeah, I think when you have opportunities to play teams like that are, clearly not in the running and are in their fourth consecutive rebuild.
They're always rebuilding. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
The Moneyball thing is preached.
Sorry, a
not just a movie.
perpetual rebuild. You got to take advantage. You got to pounce. And the Blue Jays, so far, like as we mentioned, they have not lost a series. The only thing they've done is split one with the Yankees. So as long as you're winning series, this is a Aceto Gaston-ism. As long as you're winning series, you're going to the playoffs. So win every series, you're going to the playoffs. So just continue to win every series.
Yeah.
That will keep it moving. We always love Cetos.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think the only thing that stands out for me from the Oakland series probably was Ryu, and that he ended up on the injured list, and it wasn't good. Again, I know we kind of talked about that already. I think there was a couple people that were a little bit down on Julian Merryweather after the 2-run homer, and of course, I mean, that lost them the game at the end of it, combined with some crappy umping. But Merryweather's still a very valuable arm to this bullpen, and I think we made this comparison last week when we talked about him, is he will strike out a ton. He can get it up there in the upper 90s, but when he leaves one that's hittable, they go far, and that's because his fastball's straight, and there's not a lot of movement on it. And the comparison to that, I've seen a couple people throwing around is Shane Bieber, and it's the exact same thing. So I'll bring that back up again. Bieber strikes out a ton, racks it up there, but he is susceptible to home run ball. Robbie Ray was susceptible to home run ball last year too. That's what did him in that final start against the Yankees that ultimately cost them the playoffs. So I'm not worried about Merryweather. It was a tough loss. Those things are going to happen through the course of the year. So is what it is. I'm just thankful they did hold on to the game on Sunday, because if they dropped that, then that would have been a pretty poor loss to take, and one that you look back on, kind of like Tuesday's game, which I know we'll talk about, as one where at the end of the year, it's just like, that's a game that could come back and bite you in the ass.
So tend to agree with you. The game on Saturday was kind of sucked, losing 5-7 to the Oakland A's, but around that game they did what they needed to do, and things went the Blue Jays' way against the Oakland A's. So you had to win that series. We all kind of went to the point that they're going to find a way to cough one of those games up, and to that point, I think this group was 100% accurate actually on that part.
No, you guys were all right. I know the Red Sox.
I said sweep Red Sox.
Yeah, you did. Oh, did you?
You did.
Yeah.
I went 1-2 against the Red Sox, so I know I'm wrong there.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so far called a 4-2 week, 3/4 of us. So,
good.
To that point, let's move on to the Red Sox series, and let's talk a little bit about where things went, because this is the series that we expected, boys, and it was a little back and forth. Very close on 2 of the 3 games, and the one game we were able to dust them a little bit and take them out. But that Tuesday night game, Brendan, that you were talking about, go ahead and elaborate on that, because that ended up being a very close loss for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, that's not a game you should lose, and that's pretty obvious. And Bo wears that one, and I know that's probably still eating at him, to be honest. You can very clearly see the influence Tulo and working out what Tulo has on him because of the running throw, and that was his patented move. You go on the run and you throw it right then and there. Bo does not have that down yet. That's very clear. But yeah, that's a game where at the end of the year, if you do miss the playoffs by 2 games, 1 game, 3 games, that's one that you're going to look back on and chalk up. I do think that game that they lost against Texas when they were up 5-1 or 6-1, whichever it was, that's another one. It's just about limiting those and not having as many. Crap, that's not a game you should lose. Tuesday's one of those for sure. It was disappointing, and I'll be perfectly honest. I was pretty impressed with what I saw from Kikuchi. I know there was early struggles,
very impressive.
But man, the fact that you have a lefty who can get it up 95, 97 as a starter and do it consistently, there's something there. There absolutely is something there, and I believe the stat that is finally the first time that I think it was either Tabler. It might have been Tabler that brought out a good stat where it was like, damn, he brought some value to the broadcast.
Thank you.
Hey, I mean, it's true. I mean,
gotta start somewhere.
Kikuchi's fastball, I believe, had like a 30% swing and miss rate last year, and that was one of the highest in Major League Baseball. So there's something about it that people just cannot pick up his fastball. So the command got better. He was better in the strike zone as the game went along. And towards the end, he was inducing a lot of ground balls. And if you get that once every 5 from Kikuchi, even if it's only 5 innings, maybe he goes into the 6 and gets a couple out, maybe goes the full 6. That's a very solid number 4 for the next little while without Ryu. And even when Ryu gets back, Kikuchi can just take that spot and run with it. And Barrios keeps on going. Gosman keeps on going the way he is. And Manoah, you have those top 3. As we said earlier, Kikuchi slots in nicely behind them, and then Stripling is your perfect number 5. So I think they're in good shape despite some of the injuries to the pitching staff right now.
Tend to agree with you. So moving along, though, is we kind of called out, unfortunately, Bo Bichette gets put on the spot for the loss on Tuesday evening. Wednesday and Thursday, though, a little bit of a different story with the Bowland and how the flow was actually helping to support this team. 2 RBIs in both games. Mr. Corsair, you want to run with that?
Yeah, what I have noticed from Bo, and again, I'm not knocking him. He's obviously a staple for this team. The start has been a little bit slow when it comes to Bo, and I'd like to see a little bit more, and I don't know if it's because of where he is in the lineup. That's maybe he's not a good fit there, but I just need to see more. Now, I guess when you're talking about the past 2 games, yeah, he's been productive, but I don't know. I'm not overall satisfied, and I don't know if it's because of poor defensive play. I mean, it's been okay, but
really
if
that
we're gonna
one
talk
game, he's looked all right, pretty good otherwise, but just came at the wrong moment.
Yeah, I think when it comes to that specific play that he throws the ball away to Vlad, maybe it's a hot take. I would have just rather him hold it, just eat the run, or it's not even a run,
Yeah.
just eat the base runner at that point.
Yeah.
It gives you a chance to stay in the game. And you're doing
They
too
teach
much
it all
at
the
a
way
critical
down Little
moment.
League.
Yeah, just hold the ball.
Just eat it.
It's critical.
Sorry, go ahead, Adam.
No, that's it. Go.
Has Bo taken a walk yet this year? Because I know of a couple days ago he still hadn't.
No.
Still
I don't know. Did he today? Let me look.
I only started tuning in.
He did not.
I think the 6th.
Yeah. He did not.
Yeah. I don't believe he's taken a walk all year, and that's concerning. And
0.
that's why I think right before the season started, I said he should bat 4th because you got guys who can get on for him. He's still a run producer when he's going good, but he's not a guy who can get on base, and you need guys to get on base in front of him, ideally. So
he only had 40 all of last year, and he had 5 in 2020 and 29 games. Bo doesn't walk.
He's super aggressive, but still, I mean, that's the next evolution of his game. And if he does incorporate some walks, then he's on an equal level potentially offensively, at least on base percentage wise, to Vlad. Maybe.
Let's assume that the entire lineup is healthy. Hot take, or maybe not. Would you switch him and Springer?
I don't think he helps you in the leadoff spot.
If he's swinging aggressively, I think he's trying to get on base. I think eventually that will happen. I think he's a little faster too than Springer.
I'd rather use his aggressiveness with Springer, Vlad, and one other on base.
I can't. Maybe it's just the old school baseball in me. I'm not comfortable with him at 4. I'm not, especially if Teoscar is on this team.
Yeah. I think if Teoscar is on this team, he ends up in the 5th spot personally, or
maybe even
pushing
6.
everything around. Because honestly, what I've been seeing is Loris Gurriel Jr. is starting to take walks and slap the ball around very efficiently. And I've been wondering how much he might be able to help load up the bases in front of Vlad. And this is all if Teoscar is healthy. Yeah. Right now, I can't put anybody anywhere else unless I wanted to try getting Vlad better pitches. I'm moving Bo Bichette and Lourdes tandem right next to him. Having that little bit of protection might be the difference in the world, but who do you put in the 2 spot in that point? So, at least without Teoscar, anyways.
Vlad goes up to 2.
I don't like that either. I don't like that either.
That's the old school baseball right there. Although Vlad has been speedy quick this year.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind doing if we're dead set on Springer leadoff, which again I don't. That's fine. And we're experimenting with moving Bo. I would put Gurriel 2, keep Guerrero, and then Teoscar. Put Chapman 5, and Bichette 6.
Yeah. I don't even give a crap about the righty lefty shit anymore. This team can mash. Yeah. Just load it up. And that I understand that's why they're putting Collins where they are putting him in the lineup right now. But every other day you're putting Kirk there right now. So you're not really solidifying a lefty in that part in the lineup. Just load the fucking thing up with righties up at the top. And as long as they're your best hitters on your team, who gives a crap?
Yeah. No, I agree.
So, but to that point, I think there's something to say that if you get one of those guys, an extra guy like that behind Vlad in this absence of Teoscar, it does make the difference in the world, because maybe he gets that one extra fastball or that one hanging curveball just because they know Bo and company are coming after the fact, and they know they'll get somebody aggressive after him.
Chapman's been batting 6th right now. He batted.
He's been doing very well in the 6th spot. And I think he's trending in the right direction.
He is. He's absolutely.
So you run the risk of fucking around with that when it comes to him, especially when he's starting to get right. I don't know. I guess you just let it be. You just trust that Bo has the tools and the wherewithal to get it going, and I think we all do.
Oh, yeah.
But it is a little concerning. And again, I'm not saying that this is a call to demote him. Not at all. I don't want anybody to overreact that way. It's just
he's had 2 hits in the last 2 games. 2 hits in each of the last 2 days since the error night. So that's 3 RBIs and a couple runs scored. So he's doing fine. But to that point, is that the difference between taking him to that next level that he will hope that he knows he can get to? That he's said multiple times that he is not the player he knows he can be. Is that the kind of thing that is the move that takes him to that next level? Because in the 2 spot, we're all accurate with the statement here that he should be taking more walks, making sure he gets on base for 3, 4, 5. If you're not doing that, is that hurting this team by maybe him flipping with that one person to that person getting on base for him to drive in? That's the argument here. Is it the difference between, a net gain for all players, right? Is that accurate with what you're talking? We're trying to hit on here.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay. And someone like Bo Bichette should be more than just fine. Like we should be expecting more than just the production's fine. It needs to be better.
Be elite.
Yeah.
And he's going to be, but is that the difference in making it that way?
Right.
If you make that move right now, does Bo Bichette and this team go off? You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. It's the same thing as if Vladdy was still at 3rd. Would he be this good? I don't think so.
I really don't. That was the difference in his game.
Yes.
You gave him a new challenge. He realized how much he had to work to get to that. And now you are reaping all the benefits of it. I don't think Bichette has to change anything about his work ethic. It literally is what that last little igniting spot is. Mm-hmm. And it could be as simple as, hey, maybe he should be batting frickin' cleanup.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I'm with you.
They'll figure out the sauce at some point, fellas.
They have to.
Or at least the hair gel to get that, awesomeness.
That thing is flowing. It's beautiful.
It is.
He approves of his own bobblehead, if you didn't hear that during the broadcast.
Of course.
Yes, I would too.
Unlike the Randall. Just saying. Anyway, let's move on. Unless either of you have anything that's a giant sweeping declaration, big tidbit, whatever you would like to talk about from the last couple of days with the Red Sox.
Kevin Gausman's awesome.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch today. I only watched the condensed game on MLB TV before this whole thing tonight because I unfortunately, work for a living. I don't get to talk baseball all day. To that point, it was just that splitter was doing crazy things, and the up-down was working perfectly for him today. And it was the difference in inches between this start and the last start. That sinker was this far below, or not the sinker, the splitter was at least this far below the zone every damn time he threw it.
Oh, yeah.
And the difference between hugging that bottom line of the zone and making it look like you're hitting the bottom of the line of the zone is night and day kind of level stuff.
Well, and he was throwing his slider today as well very effectively for strikes, and I only saw the 6th inning onwards and put it on in the basement, and he still had so much left in the tank because after 6 he had only thrown 61 pitches. He was efficient.
8 innings.
It's wild.
Who does
last
that?
Time a Blue Jay starter went to the 9th, I believe, was Marcus Stroman in April of 2015. It's been a long
God.
Yeah. The last time, and this is why I wanted him to try to keep going,
that number 6.
He gave up the base hit. Was he could have been the first Blue Jays starter to go throw a complete game, 9-inning shutout since Mark Burley in 2015. That's how long it's been, and nobody throws complete games anymore. So I wanted to see it because those things are becoming rare. It was rare to see a Blue Jay starter out in the 9th, but he should have won last Thursday against the Yankees. I mean, he pitched so well last Thursday, and he took it to another level today. And that's what the Giants got last year. I know he stumbled a little bit down the stretch last season for whatever reason, sticky stuff, whatever. But if he's commanding his fastball, getting it up there, the splitter is I personally am falling in love with the splitter more than I loved Marco Estrada's changeup. It's damn close at this point for me.
Just saying that's a pretty high mark.
It is a high mark.
It is.
Love with that.
I love Marco Estrada just as much as the next person, and I loved his changeup, but it's beautiful. So I very much look forward to every Kevin Gausman start. And from somebody who I was up in the 500s for a start against Texas, but somebody who was down in the 100s is like, when Gausman starts, buy tickets as close as you can, because you can really see how that would screw with hitters, the splitter, the slider, the fastball, all that stuff. So he's been fun. He really has been fun.
So to that point of fun, were either of you concerned about the ninth inning today with Jordan Romano?
I thought they were going to tie it.
I really did too, and then he found a way to Houdini his way out of it, which is what a closer does. It was just looking more Jason Frazier-ish for a minute there than anything. So, but to that point, he's been so lights out. So I'm not really chalking up a lot to this, other than the fact that, hey, this was one of the days he didn't have all of it, but he still found a way out of it. So maybe he's just taking that level of not, even when he doesn't have his best stuff, he's still a pitcher and can handle that. So something's tickling Adam over here. I can see the brain moving.
No, he's keeping it warm from Nate Pearson. That's all. Just keeping it warm. I think it was how many consecutive saves does he have now?
It's getting close to 30
now.
I think it is 30. Hold on,
I think it was 29 the other day.
So
29 was to break the record yesterday.
It's 30.
Continue moving the needle. Yeah.
It's 30. So I have no complaints. It's there was also a tweet that I saw that is he maxed out at about 96. So okay, I would like it to be a little higher as a closer. I'd like my closer's high heat to be hovering around like 98, 99, but I guess beggars can't be choosers, and he's getting the job done, so who am I to nitpick? But who can't get it that
I'm
fast.
playing Ken Griffey Jr. baseball and needs a guy throwing 107 out of the bullpen.
Listen, who can't get it that fast? Kevin. No.
To say Lawrence Gurriel Jr. from the left field wall.
No, Nate Pearson, I think, is. Did we touch on that they're still not sure what they want to do with him?
Nate Pearson?
No, we didn't touch on it. They're still on the fence that he's going to build up as a starter in the minors.
Yeah, I don't like that at all.
Ruse.
Yeah, no fan.
To me, it's an innings eater ballpark here until you get him some low leverage stuff in the beginning, and then he's going to, like we all anticipate, run into a 1 inning, just mash people scenario.
That's it.
I think right now it's because of the injuries that they're moving in that direction. Adam, what do you think?
I hope not, because you have Stripling and you have Anthony Kay. I'd rather see Anthony Kay start right now than Nate Pearson.
And to that point, Anthony Kay's actually pitched pretty well in the minors his couple starts, so he probably deserves a real outing instead of just hanging out.
You give him like 4 or 5 innings, he'll be reliable for you. It's fine.
Yeah. To that point, he'll be a fit starter. That's all it needs to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a 90-win team easy. Come on. We shouldn't even be having to have this conversation.
At minimum. At minimum.
So anyways, any other notes?
No, don't think so.
Green Monster and cold suck, just saying. Anyways, so we're going to Houston, boys. They get the chance to actually warm up. So the series is going to, as we talk about how things are going to go for the Blue Jays over the next week, we got Ross Stripling kicking up against the Verlander tomorrow. There can only be one. Then Alek Manoah gets to play Jose Urquidy on Saturday. And then we have Luis Garcia taking on Yusei Kikuchi on Sunday. How are you guys seeing that slice up for the Blue Jays in Houston? Go ahead, Brendan.
Oh, with the way Verlander's throwing, tomorrow's going to be super tough. Not going to lie. I mean, he looks like the guy he was when he was 28, 29.
What the hell is it? What fountain of youth has that man discovered that needs to share?
I
I don't think he's doing the same shit that Frank Thomas is doing on those commercials. Just saying.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, I mean, the most gettable game in my mind is Saturday when you got Manoah going against Urquidy, and Urquidy started off pretty slow. So maybe take advantage of that. And Sunday's a toss-up. It really is. Luis Garcia is pretty damn good. He was last year, kind of burst on the
Rookie of the Year candidate, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be tough to win the series and keep that streak going. Are we doing predictions now, or are we just kind of talking about it?
Yeah, let's talk record. What do you think you're doing for that series?
For that series, I probably 1-2. To be perfectly honest, I know I just did that for the Red Sox because my prediction for the Red Sox was that they wouldn't win Kikuchi's start, and they didn't, even though they shouldn't have after the game was done. Yeah. And I thought they would drop one of the Barrios or Gosman starts, but win the other. So I'm glad they won both, of course. But yeah, Saturday would be the game. I think they win. Maybe they find a way to scratch out a tight win on Sunday, but I just don't see how they win tomorrow unless Verlander implodes somehow.
Yeah. And then let's move on for your predictions, at least through the next 4 days, which is the Red Sox coming up north of the border with God knows who the hell actually shows up.
Yeah.
But we're going to have the whole Blue Jays team that we possibly can have outside of some of our injured players. We're going to get Barrios and Gosman again in that series, and probably Ross Stripling again.
Yeah, so, I mean, they'll get everybody except for Kikuchi since he goes on Sunday. So Manoah gets the Thursday game, and Stripling goes Wednesday. My rule that I've said before is I never pick sweeps in 4-gamers. I almost always go with the split just because it's safe.
You are going to miss Hawk.
I feel like being a little dangerous. I would go 3-4. I mean, if I know they'll get a second look at Barrios and Gosman, but maybe Barrios continues to build, and I don't think they'll be in a rush to face Kevin Gosman again. So win one of those and then win the Manoah start and scratch out a win with Stripling, or you win both Barrios and Gosman starts. So yeah, I'll go 3-4 with that one.
Okay, so that puts you at literally, what did I say, 3-3 then? You had 1-4-2.
Yeah, 1-2 and 3-1. So 4-3.
4-3. Okay, Mr. Corsair, how do you think the series with the Houston Astros is going to look here when we're going against Verlander and company?
The only game that I'm confident in echoing your sentiments, Brendan, is Saturday with Manoah on the mound. So I'm going to go 1 win, 2 losses. Kikuchi, and he's pitching Sunday, you said, against the Astros. Just, I don't know, frightens me a little bit. I'd like to be pleasantly surprised if he can build off the start in Fenway, especially with the movement on his pitches. And again, also some of those calls were a little bit generous towards him. So I'll just take that 1 win, 2 losses. But for the Red Sox series, look, some players, I'm willing to bet notable ones, as we've already discussed, aren't going to be making this trip. They start how many game homestand? So they got that, then Houston, and then 3 against the So 10 games in Toronto. They're gonna be hyped. Tuesday is Looney Dogs night. I'm looking at the schedule right now. So if you want to get a hot dog for a Looney, fucking Canadians, you can do that.
What about a 2? You get 2.
That's
a wraparound next week. You get 2 Looney weeks.
I gotta go up and fuck with them and say, what about a tootie?
Shut up.
That means you get 2 hot dogs, Brendan. That's called math. Oh God.
Sure,
so
we're gonna have to escort you out. I'm gonna say it's they're gonna take over.
Brendan's gonna put that on a sign and watch it get confiscated. Just saying.
What about a
I got a toonie.
So sure.
Yeah.
So did I hear you're splitting the series against the Red Sox, or are you taking
I'm sweeping them.
Sweeping it. There it is.
I like it.
So we're gonna have a 5-2 from Adam for this next.
They're gonna have a depleted roster.
I think they are too. Like, I mean, I think there's more than they let on, to be honest. I mean, again, I hate judging books by their cover when it comes to the vaccines and just the people that look like they wouldn't get it. And there's a couple that I can think of off the top of my head, particularly in the bullpen.
Listen, the Yankees got their shit together, though. They did. Every one of them are vaccinated now.
And honestly, I mean, I know it could have been a huge advantage when going against the Yankees, but I'm happy at the end of the day that they all got their vaccines.
Because now it's not an excuse. So, like, here's the thing. When do we play the Red Sox again in Toronto? We do in June. So I have a feeling if they do sweep Boston, it's going to light a fire. they're gonna say, "Fuck this, we're getting vaccinated." I promise you, they will.
You don't get to choose anymore.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you go to the minors.
No, they'll do it.
Who would we get in that series? Houck was supposed to start on Tuesday, so we'll get somebody else. It'll be. Oh yeah,
Probably a
no,
bullpen day for them on that, unless they bring up somebody from the minors.
Probably get. Actually, they miss him. When did Evaldi pitch? He pitched on Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
Actually, they might miss Evaldi.
He might be pitching Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. So if they miss Evaldi, then they get Pivetta, assuming he doesn't go.
Do they have a game Sunday?
Yeah, probably. I'd assume so. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you could get Pivetta, whoever they start for Houck, and then it goes back around. And I forget who rounds out their rotation right now, but if I can't think of them off the top of my head, then that's got to be a little bit of a good sign, right?
Yeah, they're playing Tampa.
You're just not scared by them.
Yeah,
in
and
Tampa
on Sunday, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Waka would be one of them.
One in Rich Hill. So
yes,
damn.
So two old guys.
You miss a Baldy. That works out so well for you. And actually, Adam, I'm kind of liking your pick of a sweep, to be honest.
I'm saying a sweep.
I'm not changing mine, but I still think 3 of 4 now is really good with that.
Two of those guys that you just mentioned, if Waka or Hill are one of those guys that can't make the trip because of
it's possible,
then that sweep is looking very, very, very good.
Yeah.
Because you would think you're going to be basically facing the bullpen or quadruple A level players that are just happen to be able to get on the bus and go from Brent or Adam's neck of the woods here.
Worcester.
Actually,
I forgot. I was like, what the frick team are they now?
Worcester. The Woo Sox.
I just went to
Woo
the
Sox.
Probable pitchers on the Red Sox, and they have Rich Hill penciled in for Sunday, so maybe they are holding Evaldi back to start.
With how many innings or how many pitches he threw the other day, it doesn't shock me. They'd want to give him his gas an extra day.
Yeah. Maybe.
Is he vaccinated?
Oh, I know.
That might be the other stumbling around. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
or to that point, that's why they're pitching Hill on Sunday, where he doesn't have to make the travel on Monday.
True. I mean, that's possible too. It's going to be fascinating to see how many Red Sox can come, because the way Cora said it the other day made it seem like there are going to be multiple. And I mean, like,
he didn't say it with confidence that it was going to change. Was the problem with that selling point, and not to mention the pitching the day before. Correct. It needs to be 2 weeks before.
Yep, exactly. So that's why the Yankees got their shit together earlier this week, because they had the 2 weeks to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Unfortunately, I think that the Blue Jays are going to actually sell out against the Astros on the first game of the series. They're going to chip away at Verlander, and then they're going to cough up the other 2 games. So I'm still calling a 1-2 against the Astros. I don't want to say it, but it's going to be a close game.
Woo.
So lost by the bullpen, not Manoah.
Kind of in that ballpark are those 2 runs that he managed to finally give up.
Yeah.
Do actually bite him in the ass this time.
He's going to want to go 8 now. So, now that Gosman went 8, he's going to want to go 8.
I know he's going to, and I love that he wants to wear that, man. I really do.
One up each other, because right now Gosman's my ace and Manoah's like right behind him, and then Manoah after Saturday will go up to number 1, and Gosman will go back.
Manoah hasn't had
as Blue Jays fans, though, how do you argue that point? Those 2 guys are bing right now, and then Jose Barrios is starting to finally catch track, and watching him grind out that start the other night was pure awesome baseballness, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just what was it? He scattered 9 hits in a beaned hitter and pitched 5 innings.
6. He went 6. Yeah.
So
Wilner said it well. It was a classic case of if you don't get to him early when they hit him hard, he was able to shut them down and scatter the hits. I will say
a very Roy Halladay start.
Yeah, I will say there is. I don't like how much hard contact is coming off of Barrios, but the fact that he can get out of it pretty consistently, that's a step in the right direction. That's good enough for me, considering
very much so. Good deal. So anyway, like I was saying, I'm calling that, unfortunately, that this is going to be the Blue Jays' first series loss, and it's because it's in Houston. That's literally the only thing, in my opinion, that is causing this issue. So, and like I said, I really think they're going to find a way to just destroy Verlander. He's been too good. Find something that's a chink in the armor. But to that point, this is a guy that's also thrown 2 no-hitters against this team, but he's not pitching in Toronto, so maybe we're okay. So, but then I really think that we're going to take 3 out of 4 from the Red Sox. So I'm agreeing with you, Brendan, that this is a 4-3 week for the Blue Jays by the time we record next Thursday and have the whole team hopefully back together.
So if they go 4-3, you are 12-8. That's pretty damn good. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
It's a good start to the season.
That's really good. That's a great start to the season, considering what they've done in the past in April.
Correct.
Wrap up April. Yeah. No, it's good.
Yeah.
Good. Real good.
All right. So now that we've done series previews, unless any of you gentlemen would have anything you would like to add on either of those two series.
No.
Okay.
All good.
Picks to click time. Chris Key is not here with us. Last week he picked Adam Simber, who had a little bit of one rough outing, and then I did another good one. So I can't give him a W. I picked Lourdes. Okay, he had some good hits, but then we also had Adam, you picked Santiago Espinal, who I don't recall even doing a ton this week, other than he put some really difficult, crazy at bats. What was the one at bat that he had against the Red Sox? 11 pitches?
11 against Vladdy. That got his pitch count up early.
And that was the reason we had a good chance of getting into Evaldi, because of the fact that there was him and a couple other guys that did that to him. Yeah. And just watch that. Brendan, wasn't it you that mentioned in our chat the other night that he was like at 60 pitches going into the third inning?
yeah, they got it up early.
So if they can keep doing that kind of thing against any of these guys, and that needs to be the business plan against Verlander. Those no hitters, didn't the one no hitter he threw against the Blue Jays, didn't he only give up or throw 90 pitches?
Oh,
it was a Maddox. It was just nuts. So that's the way to get into those kind of things. But and then Brendan, you picked Bo Bichette. We did mention that he had some key comebacks the last 2 days, but out of that collective grouping, guys, Lourdes, Simber, Espinal, Bo.
They're all the same.
I know. Nobody stood out. I can't say Bo because he cost them a win, so he's automatically out in my mind.
I can't say Simber.
No, I don't think Simber did enough, didn't pitch enough. So
am I defaulting just because I batted 300 with Lourdes?
I mean, Lourdes has heated up a little bit lately.
What did he bat over the last week? Has anybody gotten that in front of them? My computer's going to
I'll tell you right now. So I got Espinal. So over the Oakland series I don't have it today on Baseball Reference, but Santiago Espinal has only had 3 hits and batted 188, and I assume Lourdes has been better than that.
I'm trying to get to Lourdes' last week here. Hold on, I got it.
The only game I don't have on Baseball Reference.
He's batted 400 over the last week.
Give it to Lourdes.
That's 2 RBIs.
That's it for sure.
He scored 6 runs in the last week. Holy crap!
Yeah, he's getting base.
So
yeah, it's Lourdes for me. Absolutely, that's my.
So I'm taking my first W of the season in week 2.
Yeah,
8 hits too. Jesus. Hey, so I want to make an amendment to that suggestion we made last week about Vladdy.
The Vlad rule.
So I do like the fact that if you win 3 in a row, you can pick Vlad. But I think if you want to save it, you should be able to, right? So I feel like you have the right to choose Vlad henceforth.
In this past week, though, we learned that he's not actually a cheat code.
No, you're right.
He is human. So do we just throw it all away?
No.
We go back to the rule of you can't pick the same guy if you win 2 weeks in a row. And
you definitely can't.
That was the rule.
2 weeks in a row in my mind.
Correct.
All right, you want to roll with that? That's fine.
Yeah.
Right. I'm in.
If you're a W winner, you can't pick the same guy 2 weeks in a row, and I guess we'll just make sure that we can't do any 2 other week guys.
Okay, so
unfortunately, I just won with picking Lourdes 2 weeks in a row.
Gotcha. All right, so we'll put an asterisk next to this.
Okay, I'm putting the asterisk.
Okay, that works.
All right, so who? I'm going to say that seeing you, Adam, had the roughest week outside of Chris with only 3 hits. Who do you think is going to be the Blue Jays star this week? Against the Stros and the Red Sox.
Okay, so next week we should be able to. The game's at 3 against Boston on Thursday. So that should wrap up before I'm going to say Manoah.
That's 2 starts, yeah.
Yeah,
that's 2 start week for Manoah. That's probably a good safe bet.
Yeah.
Even with the call thing that I mentioned, if he loses somehow on Saturday, that's still a chance for him to still do really good in the week too.
Yeah, individual performance. That's it.
Correct. Individual performance. So Brendan seeing Chris Key is by default not here. And I'm going to have to carry over his Simber pick, seeing he hasn't gotten me that pick. Yeah, that's right, Chris. I know you're listening. I've been seeing your tweets. I'm threatening.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Brendan.
Yeah. Chapman. I'll go Matt Chapman.
Good call.
The Chappie.
Heating up a little bit. I like what he's been doing, going the other way, driving in a couple runs. And he did make the game-saving play today at third base. So, yeah, Matt Chapman.
Very encouraging. I'm surprised neither of you guys picked him, and I'm gonna get to be this guy. I'm going Springer, just destroying his whole team and being enough for this week. He could do nothing. He could do nothing against the Red Sox. I think he's just gonna just have the craziest home reunion because he's been salivating over going back for over a year now. So I'm just thinking he's gonna make sure that he's living out on the Crawford boxes all weekend. So he's gonna pick out a seat and he's just gonna find that guy every day.
It was between him and Chapman for me.
To that point, I would have done the flip of that. So we're even. I love me some Matt Chapman.
Remember last year when Chris would always say Robbie Ray and how he's already been on the Yusei Kikuchi wins the Cy Young train? Do we assign him Yusei Kikuchi as his default pick when he doesn't join?
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He said he was going to get to me before the end of the night tonight, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But to that point, I am for that rather than carrying over the Simmer pick. So
that's what we did last year.
Chris, we'll make sure we get your default pitcher pick. And seeing you've been calling the Kikuchi.
When you can't make shows for whatever reason, you have to have a default pick, and the default pick is a pitcher.
Yeah. So just to be that guy,
just let mine be Kevin.
I was gonna say it's Kevin.
Okay, that's fine.
You got to pick your boy, whoever you're drinking the most Kool-Aid from. That is your guy.
Yeah, so yours will be default Ryu.
No.
Yes.
And just to be that guy, that means mine would be Alejandro Kirk because I've been watching him since he was a baby blue. So.
I think those are all fair.
The default picks are locked in.
Fine. If Chris is his Kikuchi,
it is decided.
Yeah. Fine. That's done. Yeah.
Because you want them to do well, right? Yes. All of us want them to do well, and if they do, that's great. That's a really good week.
All right.
It's the reason he's wearing the too tight pants about Robbie Ray shirts all the damn time. He got to wear and rep that whole fact that I picked this guy and I ran through that. That's just perfect stuff. That's fandom in a nutshell, which is why we love it so much. But I talked to Adam about this before the show, and I mentioned it during our fun last night while we were chit-chatting and whatnot. So before we just kill everything for the evening, I want to make sure that everybody's aware that this Sunday night, I'm going to find a way to do the retweet and follow stuff, and you're going to get a chance to win this Lego kind of like Blue Jay helmet thing that I've had laying around that I'm afraid to put together, but it's pretty cool. And if it's anything like the Buffalo Bills one I have, it looks freaking stellar when it's all together. But we're going to have those retweets and follows up, and then I'm going to also be having a watch party again on Monday evening. So make sure you join, retweet, and follow, and that will be your gift, no matter where you are. If you're one of our UK fans that's been tweeting in, if you're one of the guys that are like me that just happen to live down in the States and are a diehard Jays fan, whatever it might be, I will make sure this gets to you if you win that contest. So retweet and follow and Sunday, and I will make sure it gets in your direction. We're going to start doing a few of those so we can get you guys involved with a little bit more here at Jaybird Watching. Anything else either you guys would like to add before I do the typical spiel at the end?
Yeah, last thing. Go Raptors. They're probably going to get swept, but go Raptors.
I watched the end of that last night. That was
it was heartbreaking. Yeah.
Fucking elite, man.
Yeah, he's elite though, dude. He's so good.
Yeah.
But
so
go Raptors.
Correct. So anyways, anything else?
Deebo Samuel's not getting traded.
Oh, stop. He's not going to the Bills.
As I say, with the Bills are already capped out. I mean, they've sent enough bonus money to certain players that there's no cap in football anymore. Just bonus money.
Shit. Next Thursday's the draft.
Yeah,
it is.
Damn it. Oh, we'll talk about it after.
Okay. We'll figure it out. So maybe it'll be next Wednesday we have this show. But to that point, football. And go Blue Jays. But to that point, Blue Jays fans, make sure you jump in. I've seen plenty of chit-chatting in our YouTube channel this evening. Apparently, due to wonderful fun with how the internet is just shit and doesn't work all the time, the YouTube thing is the best place to listen to us and be able to chime in on the chat. Twitter's broke their stuff with this Twitter Spaces thing. Facebook just doesn't like to communicate through the thing we have here all the time. I can read your stuff, but it's hard to send back. Stupid things. But join us on YouTube. We love having you all, to chit chat with, and I'm glad that the people are chiming in where they are. It might be just Chris Key tonight, but to that point, it's still somebody. Make sure you listen to us on the live streams, on which apparently, because of football, it's not going to be Wednesday next week. But to that point, we are also on jaysjournal.com, which we are the official podcast for. Our friends over at Stadium Scene are always repping our brand as well. Make sure you check out what they have available on their channels and on stadiumscene.tv. And as always, boys, are you ready for the two claps and the Ric Flair and let's go Blue Jays? All right. Woo!
Let's go.
Let's
Go Blue
go,
Jays.
Blue